Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Centurion Leadership Battalion podcast, your source of accountability, inspiration, and motivation to become your best and reach your fullest potential every day. Our motto, it's simple: to use our determination to crush our everyday leadership tasks so that we dominate in our delivery of services and products to our clients and achieve victory and personal growth, profitability, and creating environments for those around us to prosper. Let's get this show started.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Centurion Leadership Battalion. I'm so excited that you're joining us today for another question and answer based episode. This is Alaina. We have Justin on, and I can't believe we are well into the 30s. That's how many Q&A episodes we have done so far. So if you haven't listened and you're just now finding our podcast, make sure you go back and listen to some of the content we've put out. We've really gone over so many different topics, from knowing your team is responding positively to delegating and all other sorts of leadership topics that you can use in your personal or your professional life. So we'd love to have you listen to those. Hey, Justin, and thanks for being with us again today.
Alaina, that was a great intro. You're on fire.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I wanted to make sure everyone knows all the different topics that we've gone over, because I really think there's so many, they're so vast. So it's definitely worth listening into.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you everyone for listening in. And I love it. Let's jump right into the question.
All right, perfect. So today's question is going to be, why does a leader need to be very aggressive?
Okay, good question. And it's interesting, especially in today's world where we're trying to get everyone to be softer as leaders. And I do think it's important. And I think we often see aggression as hard or bad. And so this is why I want to talk about this. And I'll talk about it from my point of view, because I'm an aggressive leader. And I'm going to reach out to aggressive leaders who are out there. It's not every type of leadership there is. And like I said, there's a lot of qualifications of leaders, but I'm a very aggressive leader. I was very aggressive at sports. I was very aggressive in school. I'm very aggressive about going after my goals. And I'm very aggressive in that I tend to hurt people's feelings and hurt people intentionally and unintentionally. And what I mean by intentionally, I'm intentionally going after my goals, and I'm intentionally not letting anyone stand in my way. So in that regard, someone could argue, yes, I'm intentionally hurting people. Absolutely. But I'm unintentionally doing it because I'm hoping that I'm not hurting people, and I'm doing it to live my goals and what I believe is better for everyone in FSP and better with Big and Fat and Grown Strong and Primal Rock and all the other subsidiaries we have. But the aggression has to be in a way that's moving forward in how I'm doing it. So am I aggressive? Yeah, absolutely. And I think for some people out there, it's hard. But I don't know the fire, like as me, and other people can get out there, and I'm willing to ask questions and we can go back and forth. But it's interesting because why are you so passionate? Like I get a lot of students, I guest lecture for classes on, why are you so passionate compared to our other guest lectures? But it's a conviction of doing the right thing. It's an aggressiveness. And right now I'm more aggressive than I normally am. And I come off more aggressive to people than I normally am. And it's always been this way in my life. If push came to shove and the game was on the line, get more aggressive. If my grades were on the line and I needed to get that C+ to a B-, get more aggressive. If I needed to finish the fields or I was running behind on the farm doing something, I needed to get more aggressive. By that, I meant not only working harder or faster, I also meant getting help. How do I get aggressive? And the uncomfort people feel from aggression, okay, and I'm not talking about being aggressive towards someone like nastily. I'm talking about being aggressive towards people and aggressive with them in order to get them to move forward as you would attack on a field as a team. And in aggressive environments and times when the world is messed up, aggression is key. I'm sorry, it's what's needed most. And when more and more people are trying to get soft and get comfortable amongst chaos, aggression, uncomfortability will grow as much as possible right now while everyone's not. Leaps and bounds are made during these times in aggressive ways. Leaps and bounds in your business are aggressive. We get aggressive. Food service partners always in down times get aggressive. We had the collapse in the late 2000s financially. We got aggressive and we diversified. We got into restaurant equipment and POS systems on iPads and POS software for restaurants and distribution for food service. And I don't even remember else, sports teams and gyms and whatever else things, some of them were mistakes and we failed and we lost money, but we had to get aggressive and we had to be willing to take the risk because otherwise we weren't going to survive in just food in the hospitals. Elective surgeries were crashing and we were doing a lot of those in a lot of the business. Now we have the opposite problem. We have COVID, patient counts are up, more and more food. Yeah, we have a messed up food system. So like I said in a previous podcast, the aggression is coming towards us as it should. Our clients should be more aggressive with us. They should be demanding more during these times so they can shine. The problem is they're missing that we've had a 24-year relationship and we're dealing with the same things that they're dealing with. And our name is Food Service Partners. We're in this together. We're a partnership. And so if I'm aggressive, I'm going to be aggressive for my partners and the people that are on my team, but don't make it so I have to be aggressive with you. That doesn't make any sense. Why am I fighting you when we're trying to fight the same problem? This is the thing what's going on today with aggression is if you're going to be aggressive, do it in a way that grows everyone. And if it's going to be hard on some people, push everyone forward and do the right thing for the people who have done right by you. Then you have the back. Then you have the clout, the credibility, whatever, to be aggressive. Because you're doing it through your reputation, as we discussed on the last Q&A. You have a reputation that backs it up, that people know that I'm not just being aggressive because I'm a bad human, that I'm doing it because I see purpose in it, and it's to push people to go farther. It's what a coach would do to an athlete. When it's time for them to break a barrier, you get more aggressive. You don't back off. And people can argue, oh, well, that's not true for everyone. Of course, I agree with that somewhat, but if you don't let anyone ever conquer it and you don't make someone who's been bucked off a horse get right back on the horse for the horse's sake and the humans, you've lost the lesson and it's going to take a lot longer to learn it. Deal with it right away. Sit in it. Do it. Be aggressive with it. We have a problem right now with COVID. We have shortages in the food supply. $1 billion in the United States from the government isn't even going to solve the problem. It's great, and I get it. If I was in his position, I'd try to be aggressive in the same way. It's just not what we should be doing. Biden, get it, not going to throw stones. Great effort, not enough. Government shouldn't be fixing the problem. We should as humans, and we should be aggressive in doing it. Eating better, demanding better food, going to the farms, demanding in the grocery stores what they want. Start asking. If you see another country on the package, be like, what the heck? We won't even deal 6 feet from each other. Yet we're going to buy a product from 20,000 miles away. Exaggeration, I know, obviously. But it doesn't make any sense. And then we're susceptible to that country's COVID laws and what they decide. So suddenly they shut down and they have no food and all the food is used for their COVID problems. And now they're not exporting and we're at a deficit and we're starving and running into starvation. That's the problem with relying on someone when you're completely dependent and should be aggressive in food right now. Aggressive in diversifying, aggressive in building it back up, aggressive in getting out of our deficit by selling off our surpluses to countries that need it. Even if it's pennies on the dollar, sell the shit out of it. Get it out the door. Build our business back up. Start building the reputation. You want to throw money at something? Don't throw it away. Throw it into building the businesses in this country, especially around food, because it is the future. Yes, we need other fossil fuels and solar panels, got all of it to save the planet, but it starts with food. So why is it important to be aggressive? It's no one else is going to be. And leaders Being aggressive is few and far between anymore because people are scared of criticism or an HR issue or a thing or being misunderstood. I agree. But entrepreneurs that are successful in going after the big picture and making it a better world, and the very few that I deal with now, because like I said in previous podcasts, I don't have a lot of friends or a lot of entrepreneurs I hang out with, because if their mission isn't greater and they're not using every resource they have in their business, even if they're just starting off to build a better world, then it's just not for me. And I don't understand why you would waste the energy. I don't understand why people waste energy, period, by doing nothing with their life. But if you're going to do something, you might as well do it all, because why not just do it average or half-assed? So I get it. Don't be mediocre by doing nothing. But if you're going to do it, you should try to excel at it no matter what, or be the best at it. Even if you're not, even if it's still poor, you should try. And that's being aggressive. I know right now there's a lot of things we're bringing into our business that we're not the best at right now, that we're going to start off poor. But guess what? There's no one else there to do it for these clients. And if I don't do it, these businesses go under and they go out of business and they lose jobs and investors and all that. So I'm taking on more than we probably should. I'm getting aggressive, and I'm relying on people in our company to be aggressive with their learning and their time in the kitchens and their businesses and their social media. And we're training people to do more and be more than just their job functions, to be actually a living organism that grows in value along with the organization growing in value all the way around, including their personal brands. So that's the aggressive I'm talking about. I'm talking about aggressive in leadership. I'm talking about aggressive in growing ethical and morals in humans. I'm talking about aggressive in developing 22-year-olds all the way through life, where they're always being educated at this business. It is our job as leaders in businesses, as entrepreneurs, to be not only the provider of money and stability and dreams, but also the provider of growth. And I'm not just talking about in their job function. I'm talking about overall human beings and their ability to have purpose and contribute to a better world. That's what I'm talking about, aggressive. And if we don't do it aggressively, we're never going to have the conviction to fight the people who are the immovable objects. Like, there's a lot of immovable objects, people that are stuck in their ways, stuck in their thinking, stuck in small-mindedness. You need to be aggressive, and you need to be on the unstoppable force, not the immovable object. Okay, I get it, but the immovable object, as much as it's whatever and it teaches a lot of lessons, it's immovable. It doesn't go anywhere. So in this scenario, what happens when doesn't matter. When the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, I'd still rather be the unstoppable force. Just saying. So, Alaina, I don't know if that opens up anything. I talked for a little bit longer than I thought I would there, but it's a pretty simple topic in my opinion. And I want to add this before I give you the floor, though. There is composure in aggression. There can be composure and collectiveness and strategy and tactics and aggression, just like in sports. And anyway, sorry, go ahead, Alaina. The floor is yours. I don't know what you think about any of that, or how we phrase that, or the term, because I think it's widely misused as negative when someone's being aggressive, as it's assaulting someone. And I don't think that that's what the intention of the word is, particularly in business or in sports.
Yeah, I think that the word aggressive can definitely be viewed as a negative thing. But I think, like you shared, it doesn't always have to be negative. I think it can be. I think people can be negative, and it can be used, in that way to define someone who's acting negatively. But like you shared, there's so many positive ways that being aggressive or acting aggressive can actually be a good thing. Like being aggressive towards a goal, being aggressive towards working at something that you're passionate for, all these ways of being aggressive to accomplish something positive. I think that that's a really good way to think about the word. And I think, it's another way to kind of think of going after something wholeheartedly, going after something aggressively. And sometimes you're right, we hear that, oh, he or she is such an aggressive business person or such an aggressive this or that about their goals. But, we view this in this way when really it's a good thing. Why would you want a leader who is half-hearted in their mission, right? Why would you want to follow someone who only, kind of, sort of goes after what they dream of? They kind of chase this goal. They kind of, put in the work versus someone who's all in, who you can really support their goals and their mission and be really bought into that. And I think that's a way to view the word really positively. I don't know if you have, a personal example or what kind of led you to want to cover, this topic that you would like to share or dive a little deeper into. But I think, just giving sort of a personal story, or have you ever been, talked about as aggressive? And I think too, people can define someone as being aggressive without really using that word. And I think it's sometimes a way for people to, we've talked about this before, when you start chasing a goal or you start doing something outside of what's normal to other people in your community, in your circle, whatever it may be, people view you a little negatively because they're uncomfortable. We talk about this a lot, and I can't remember the exact episode we went deeply into this. I will have to look at it and cover it before we get off our recording here. But, we talked about that and just how sometimes it makes others feel inadequate because they see you chasing a goal and they really have this goal that they want to chase, but they just don't have, the drive or the discipline or don't want to put in the effort. So that's another time people can say, oh, this person, is so aggressive and just does too much and is too extra, all these negative things. When in reality, it's actually a good thing. So I don't know if you had like a personal story or something you wanted to share for people to relate a little bit more, but I think that it'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah. And I will say it. I was viewed as a very aggressive soccer player. When they told me that in a 50-50 ball, you want to go in as hard as you can so you didn't get injured, that was my goal. Never got injured on a 50-50 ball, rarely got injured in soccer because I learned a valuable lesson. No matter what position I was, I had to be aggressive on a one-to-one scenario. I also had to be aggressive going down the field because what I do know about humans is most humans are on the defense their entire life. And a person that's on the offense has a great advantage. And I'm not talking about stupid, and I'm not talking about blindly in anger. I'm talking about strategic aggression. I'm talking about that it was so good for me that eventually I became a defender in soccer, and I would go all the way up the field and score massive goals like I was a striker because I was so aggressive and so committed to be aggressive on defense and do my job, but also commit to score goals. And there's been other soccer players like it, who's not like me. I modeled it. I saw a lot of other players do it that were defensive men. Roberto Carlos, he was a Brazilian. He played for Real Madrid. Defenders like that had strong shooting and place kicking, but also the ability to attack the field because they were fast. That's an example. In work, I get called it all the time. It's my demeanor. It's as soon as I make someone uncomfortable. So to say it, I feel like any entrepreneur or leader out there that's being aggressive in their goals, sometimes you need to listen to it. You're probably being overly aggressive, and there's times I'm overly aggressive and I can be too driven for people and I can just run them over in my drive versus trying to pick them up in the car as I'm driving, as an analogy. But and I do make people cry by trying to push them to their limits or uncap their potential. It happens, and that doesn't go well. But again, if we go back to the last episode on my reputation is to grow humans, to make them live to their potential. My goal is not to be liked by everyone. That's not my reputation. I don't want that reputation. It's too hard. It'd be too much to manage. I'm just who I am. And who I am is aggressive and pushing people to human potential as fast as possible. The faster we get there, the faster a manager learns in the kitchen, the faster they're able to teach it, the faster they're able to get a promotion and help lead the greater mission as we grow. Yep, pretty aggressive. Put people on aggressive timetables that they're uncomfortable with. Why? Mental toughness is a part of life. And being aggressive with your goals and pushing yourself and setting aggressive goals and allowing other people to find that aggression in themselves or that passion or that conviction or that thing from their past that makes them the fiery person that they are, or a superstar or gleam or beam or whatever you want to sparkle, whatever superstar there is, it's important. And in that aggression is it. And we talk about being, a good leader. And good leaders often end up famous, not because they're seeking fame, but because they concentrate on the me and the word fame first and become good leaders or good at their task or disciplined in their task. But when they truly become famous and have fame for a lifetime, they've done good or made a larger impact, not just beyond their art. I mean, not just within their art, but beyond their art or their skill or their corporation or their leadership. So you have to be aggressive if you want to accomplish all the things you want to accomplish in a lifetime. And there's no reason you can't. But I don't know how to do it with being aggressive. And being aggressive means you hurt people and hurt people's feelings. I wish it didn't. And in the world where we want to be butterflies and rainbows, I understand that I'm not trying to do anything that would harm anyone. What we're trying to do is in hurting people or growing people that there's lessons learned. Because if we don't learn lessons in hard ways, sometimes we don't learn them and we don't pass them on because we don't learn them. So aggression, I don't know, is the best way to make mistakes and learn from them and be willing to keep doing it over and over again. And it's also a way that the people around you can understand what's going on. I'm not saying to be nasty or yell at people or whatever, but you can come across and get your point across and model aggression and voice aggression and inspire and motivate that aggression and that purpose. And like I said, not everyone's going to respond to it. It's just part of what it is. So thank you, Alaina. I really appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone, for sharing. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that last part on aggression, but I will say this, though. Every entrepreneur or sports professional or person I've mentored that's made it, or athlete I've mentored or coached in some way, or business person or friend that's made it, they're the aggressive ones. And their reputations at first, even though they were building discipline and all of it along the way, it wasn't seen as a good thing. And as they were learning, they made a lot of mistakes that maybe they treated a lot of employees in the wrong way that they now treat better. But I don't know how else to go through it unless you're willing to go through it aggressively and know that you're going to make mistakes and understand there's collateral damage unintentionally. But if you're not willing to do it, who is? Who's going to do it? Who's going to go through these hardships? And who else is willing to learn from people and be willing to maybe make those mistakes? We do it in sports all the time, especially on teams. We lead and coach, and there's implications, goals, reputation in school. So I don't know. I'd rather be known as aggressive than defensive. It's just me. So maybe that's a problem. Some would say they don't like the way that I handle things. But for me, it's got me here. It's got me where I am, and it's built these companies. And like I said, when everyone else really starts backing off, that's when I get the most aggressive. So awesome.
Well, thanks for sharing all of that. And like Justin shared, thank you guys for continuing to listen and download and subscribe and rate, review, do all of these things to give us some positive feedback. We greatly appreciate it. You can connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks, guys.